Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to another success story session. And today I'm honored to have Mr. Mridul with me, who has really achieved a very important success of his life as he has recently cleared a prestigious EO AO exam. And today in this session, we will delve into his inspiring journey of immense hard work, dedication, and perseverance. So, welcome to the session, sir. And first of all, congratulations to you on becoming the EO AO officer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for congratulating me.
So, guys, today in this session, we will delve into the insights of the strategies that he has used to clear the EOAO officer exam, and that is also going to help you as well in your journey of becoming the EOAO officer in the next exam cycle. So, before starting with the strategy, so let's first, sir, can you please introduce yourself by giving some educational background? That what is your educational background and how you started your preparation with?
Uh, my name is Mridul Tripathi. Uh, I did my schooling from St. Thomas College, Lucknow, following which I did my Bachelor in Science from Kanpur University. And after that, I did my diploma in elementary education. And presently, I am pursuing my master's in political science. I began preparing for competitive exams in general for last 3 4 years, and for exam of UPSC EPFO, I started preparing for last 2 years and 6 months before the written exam, and after that for interview, I've been preparing side by side while pursuing other competitive exams as well.
Okay. So, sir, as you mentioned that your journey is of around 3 to 4 years, you were preparing for competitive exams. So, how exactly the EO exam happened? Like, when did you decided to go for the EO exam?
I came to know about UPSC EPFO exam through my friends and through social media. And then after that, I looked into it, what was the syllabus, what was the exam pattern, realizing that it was very familiar to me since I was already preparing for SSC CGL and state PCS exams. So I thought that it would be a good opportunity since most of the portions was already covered, and some minor portions that was required to be covered extra can be covered in couple of months. So I thought that it is a good opportunity and I decided to prepare for it.
So, as you were preparing for SSC CGL and other state PCS exams, so how did you shifted your focus from those exams to the EO exam?
I had cleared SSC CGL exam, and there was gap between one cycle and the other cycle. And state PCS exam also there was gap when the notification came out. So I thought instead of focusing on state PCS, I can easily devote 6 months of my schedule to preparing for UPSC EPFO. Since it in many perspectives you get to become an central officer, which is better than in many aspects compared to a state PCS officer. So I thought, and it the exam pattern was such that it allowed me to focus on my strength. Since I I had already been preparing and covering my topics of math, reasoning, English, and also GS portion was also covered to most extent. So that's why I decided that it will be a good investment if I am able to, by just preparing for 6 months, I am able to clear it. So I shifted my focus from uh, whatever I was doing at that moment to solely focus on EPFO.
Okay, very nice to hear that. So, sir, as you mentioned that quite few times you mentioned about the word officer. So, were you having any kind of dream of becoming that officer? Like the people might have different dreams. So, you were always inclined to be an officer in your upcoming lifetime journey.
Yes, since childhood, my dream has been to become an officer. I have always dreamt that someday I will serve as a officer in be it state or central government. And on a personal note, there was also instance when my father was on his deathbed. He has asked me that that I should fulfill both of our dreams together of becoming an officer. So by achieving this post of enforcement officer, in some sense, I am able to also fulfill his dream along with mine. So that was a great motivation for me to achieve this target.
So it's always great to achieve our dreams. And as you also dreamt of becoming an officer, and your father also wanted, so I really believe that if he would have been right now, he would have felt very proud of you, as you are now finally an officer in the EUAO.
Definitely, he would have been probably the proudest of any of us. But
Exactly. So
all this is always with me, so
yeah,
not lost.
definitely. So when we talk about this particular part, as you mentioned that it was around 3 to 4 years that you were preparing for the different exams, then you shifted to EO exam. So what was the motivating factor behind you apart from being dreaming of becoming an officer? What else which motivated you a lot of becoming the officer?
Whenever I used to go for any work related to any government work, particularly when my father was sick, I had to get a lot of permissions regarding his treatment. So whenever I used to walk in any government office, I used to see how well respected officers were, how easily they were able to uh, get their work done, how commanding their presence was. Simply the aura of being an officer, uh, that was I was always fascinated by that, and I wanted to be like them, impersonate them somehow. So that was the primary objective for me to become an officer.
Okay, so it's always great to achieve that what we always fascinated about, and I really believe that you will be really a very good officer in your upcoming journey of being an AO officer. So, sir, how exactly like you prepared for the EO exam? Like we all know that there are so many subjects that we are required to cover, like quant reasoning, English is there, then current affairs, we are having accountancy, history, right? So many diverse subjects are there. So how did you covered all those subjects and cleared the exam?
Uh, Before preparing, I looked through the syllabus, what was being asked, and also the previous year questions, and what amount of weightage was given to each subject. From after reading about that, I prepared my strategy that which areas should be focused more, which areas, how much time should be devoted to which area, and also realizing what were my strengths and what were my weaknesses. So I decided to first prepare regarding my strengths, then that were mainly maths, English, reasoning. Then after that, I decided to go for GS portion, from which maximum questions were being asked, like history, geography, polity, environment, and uh, meanwhile I was preparing for current affairs side by side, doing that. After that, I went for preparing my accounts, labor laws, and social security portion. And last probably one and a half months, I went for preparing all that was left, like computer or any miscellaneous topics that were left. This way I was able to manage and prepare for the EPFO exam.
Okay, so basically you approached subject wise, picking up all the aspects that were required to cover. So guys, it is really very important. So when you are having an aim, it's always very important that we just look at the syllabus, covering all the subjects, ticking up all the aspects that are required to be covered, so that we can ensure our selection. So as per your preparation journey, what was the most toughest part for you when we talk about the EOU exam?
I would not say toughest, but most frustrating part was the gap between the written exam and the interview period. It was around 1.5 years, so it was really frustrating to wait for it. And there were also lack of clear communication from UPSC side, that when it will be held, what would be the future process. So it was difficult to plan accordingly. In between, I also again started preparing for other exams and had put my preparation for UPSC interview on hold for some time. But I kept myself abreast with the current affairs topics and whatever topics I had mentioned in DAF. So I had basics clear, and I also realized that they would UPSC will be providing me with one or 2 months advance notice, so that would be enough for me to mug up and brush up all the topics that are required for interview. But it was really frustrating period, not knowing when the interview will be held. Apart from that, it is like any other competitive exams for which you need to prepare, and rewards are pretty great if you are able to become an enforcement officer. So this was the aspect that I found frustrating. Apart,
Okay. So we all are aware that yes, the gap between the result of the exam, the recruitment test exam, and the interview. So it was really a very large gap. So how did you manage to stay connected with that part? As you were already aware that okay, you have already cleared the written exam, and now the next step is of interview, but the dates are not coming, and you are also side by side preparing for other exams as well. सो हाउ डिड यू मैनेज टू स्टे कनेक्टेड विद दैट पर्टिकुलर एग्जाम कि ठीक है मेरे को इंटरव्यू भी करना है और साथ साथ बाकी एग्जाम को भी आई विल बी लुकिंग आफ्टर.
uh, it was a it was difficult to manage, but what I adopted was that I had a habit of reading newspaper daily. I did not give up on that, and also for that preparation, I had also already prepared for a few months what questions can be asked relating to my DAF. So I laid particular emphasis on topics which were in news, which could be asked relating to my DAF, which things which I have mentioned in my DAF, and also in general, I kept myself abreast with all the happenings regarding GS and all the questions that could be asked from me. So I was able to manage that, and I think 1.5 months are sufficient for you if you have basics clear to clear the interview. Not much time is required for that if one's basics are clear.
Yeah, definitely. So when we talk about this particular exam, right? So we have seen that when the exam was happened last time in 2021, so the paper was quite easier in the nature. And now in 2023, when exam took place, so it was quite a drastic change in the difficulty level of the exam. We always recommend students to go through the PYQs and see that what is the demand of the exam. So how did you manage and control your temperament when you were sitting in the exam and seen that okay, so the paper level is really different as per the PYQs and the last year exam cycle?
Definitely, when I was sitting in the exam center and when I went through the question paper, it was definitely a surprise that difficulty was high. But uh, important thing at that time is to not to panic, to keep calm and realize that if the questions are hard for you, then they will definitely be hard for other students as well. And you do not need to score like 100% or 90%. You just need to be able to around 50-60% are sufficient in any competitive exams to clear cutoff. And since difficulty will be same for everyone, you are not alone. So important thing is to focus to not to do to avoid doing extra questions and get a negative marking from that, and focus on whatever you are able to do, and then just hope for the best.
Right. So, guys, a very important message to all of you that at such time, because you can always get the surprises during the examination cycle, right? So, what you can do, just stick to your basics, control your emotions, and just stay in the present. As the paper is difficult for you, it is the difficult for other people as well. So, just staying in the moment is the very important part, and sticking to your strategy, right? So, you can be little bit flexible about your strategy of attempting the exam as well. So, sir, when we talk about this particular examination, right? So, how did you strategize your preparation for the exam? Like, as you have already mentioned that you gave some time to X subject, some time to accountancy, some time to history, right? So how did you strategize your preparation along with the resources that you were having? But you were doing some self study only, or you took some kind of course? So how exactly strategized it?
Since I'd already had basic knowledge regarding uh, English reasoning and maths topics, and basic knowledge regarding GS topics, and what I was not aware of about was the accounts, labor law, social security. For that, I took the coaching to prepare particularly for these three topics. Rest I did through self study.
Okay. So, and how did you manage your resources? Were like, because so many times we have seen that the students make one mistake of following so many resources and they end up just wasting their attempt. And how did you manage your resources at that point of time?
For accountancy, since the course is very vast, there is not fixed resources. I relied mostly on the lectures that were being and I took that I was taking, and whatever the study material that was provided. And for labor law and social security, nothing is better than to the go through the government acts which are already present, that are the best guiding principle that anyone can follow. If he is not interested in particularly taking coaching for that, if he is able to go through all the government acts that are being mentioned in labor laws and social security, he would able to uh, pretty easily cover the topics relating to labor laws and social security.
Okay, so basically, hitting those topics and covering all the dimensions was the basic approach that you took in order to cover all those subjects from the exam point of view. Right. So that's really good to hear that. So, guys, that's how you are also required to approach the subjects. And when you will be ensuring covering all those topics, then you can definitely sit relaxed. Okay. So, this is something that is required to be done, and I have done that
And
accordingly. So, good to hear that. So, apart from that, when we talk about the interviews, right? So, how did you prepare for your interviews?
for interview, it is important to know about your DAF particularly. What questions can be formed from whatever information you have mentioned about yourself. After preparing that, you need to know about your hometown and what your personality is. And second important aspect is to be in tune with the current affairs that are happening nationally and internationally, particularly on those days when your interview is falling. If event of international importance has taken place, particularly on the day which your interview is being held, that event you should be aware about, uh, because it is not a good excuse that I am not aware about that event. When if you give it to your interviewer, that may affect you negatively. Apart from that, other important aspect for preparing for interview is to focus on your speaking skills, your body posture, and to not be uh, to show confident but not overconfidence in your answers. And to many of the time they try to put you in certain situations which are difficult to properly answer. They want to check how you will able to cope with such pressure while you are doing your job. So they try to test it, but important point is to not to panic at that moment, and res- respond genuinely and humbly. And that was work for me, and I believe that it is probably the correct approach, since others have also followed it.
Absolutely right. So, did you also appeared any kind of mock interviews for your EO AO interview?
Yes, I had prepared for EduTap interview. First, when the results were announced, I prepared for one, and immediately before my interview date, 1 week before that, I had given another interview with the EduTap.
Okay, so how did you get to know about the EduTap? Like, EduTap is providing the mock interviews and all.
Uh, it was mainly through social media that I had come to uh, be aware about it. I was searching for how to prepare for interview for EOU, and I had come across EduTap, and when I checked, they were offering good preparation for interview at very reasonable price of 500 rupees only. So uh, I think it would be best if I am able to enroll for EduTap and prepare for interview. And it was very helpful in my interview process.
And sir, how did it help you in your interview preparation?
Uh, in interview preparation, firstly, when I had given the first mock interview, I had performed, since it was immediately prior to the result, I had performed, I think, for lack of better, horribly. Uh, it was not at all good. It was a reality check for me that I had to really focus on many areas regarding my DAF and other things, particularly how I speak, how I present myself. So it was really helpful in hindsight, and also the workshop that were conducted by the EduTap organization, in which ex-EO, EOA officers and APFC officers were being we were able to ask them questions, and they were able to give their replies and answers. That was also very helpful. That also helped me prepare for interview, and also kept the motivation alive that someday I will also become like them. So that was very helpful. And the last interview that I gave, that went good, and the interviewer also said that I believe that you will able to successful and become an EOA officer. So that was also a massive boost to my confidence. That's how I was able to clear interview. So it was a very good experience with the EduTap team.
Definitely good to hear that we also contributed at least some point. We gave our contribution in your selection as well. So can you just tell our students about how was the panel that was there for your mock interviews, and whether their feedback really helped you out in your actual interview, and the kind of questions they asked, so were they really relevant as per the actual interview which was being conducted for your EOAO?
Panel was panel was really good. It was made up of accomplished individuals in their respective fields, and the questions they were asked, not exactly not similar questions were asked in my interview, but since I had prepared for them, I was confident, and most were of some sort of similar nature. So that was really helpful, and the feedback they provided, particularly from the first interview that I did not do well, was really helpful. It opened my eyes to many of my lacking points, which eventually I practiced and was able to overcome. So in the second interview, I did well. So that also served as a boost to my confidence, which I carried along for the interview process, and uh, success speaks for itself. No,
Yeah, definitely. So, did you also appear some mock tests for the written test as well?
uh, I did not. I did not particularly focus on mock tests. I concentrated on completing the topics thoroughly and revising them. Uh, as such, because I was confident that time would not be an issue for me, since I'm used to giving exams in much less time duration that was being offered in the UPSC EPFO. So, by looking at previous year questions, I was confident that time would not be issue. So, I did not appear for mock test in for written exams for UPSC EPFO. But for first time student, to appear for mock interviews, mock written test is particularly helpful. They should definitely appear.
Yeah. So, apart from this, as we've already discussed about your strategy for your written test and the interviews. So, as you mentioned that it's been 3 to 4 years of journey, the preparation journey that you had. So, at times, we feel really very low, and we just want to give up on the part ki bas ab bahut hua and now let's just try to look after some other options. So such kind of situation also held with you, and how did you manage to pick up yourself during that particular part?
Definitely, that happens in every aspirant's life, particularly on next day when you have given exam and your result is not satisfactory, and it is particularly difficult to pick yourself, particularly on the day of the result, if you are not able to achieve success. But important thing is to focus on your goal, what lies ahead, what will be the ultimate objective that you are focusing on. And particular thing that I followed was, Mm, if I was not able to clear an exam, I looked through what mistakes I had made, uh, what was lacking, why I could not clear any exam, and I made a point that I should not repeat those mistakes ever in any of the exams. Uh, Whether I'm able to clear it or not, that doesn't matter. But I should not repeat any mistakes that I had already made. That was my mantra, and it bore fruit in UPSC EPFO.
Yeah, so it's a biggest learning, I think, and a very basic thing that every aspirant should follow. That is learning from the mistakes and not repeating them again. So, very important point, guys. Always make sure that you are analyzing your performance and the mistake that you have committed. See, it's really good to commit a mistake, but learning from them is also very important and not repeating that again in your upcoming journey. So, that's really a greatest learning that I think you can take from Mr. Mridul, who will now be serving as an EUAO officer. So, when we talk about this particular phases, right? So, there is a lot of stress that basically comes to an aspirant. So, what was your stress buster? How you were able to basically distress yourself from such kind of situations?
Stress is part and parcel of aspirant's life. There is no going around it. But important thing is how you are able to manage that stress. Whenever the stress was high and I was feeling exhausted, I used to go and play cricket or watch some YouTube videos. I was particularly interested in American politics, political system, and international geopolitics. So I used to watch videos regarding that. That also became my hobby through my journey as an aspirant. So these were my stress buster, playing cricket and watching YouTube videos regarding global geopolitical events or American politics. And stress will always be there till you have achieved success. There is no going around it. Even after success, there would be stress in your job, uh, and you just need to manage it. That's what makes you strong as a you develops your personality, and and that's also helped in building your character. So I think it should be managed, and properly exercise can also be helpful.
So basically, a very important point that we can draw from this part that so many aspirants, when they just decide their aim, like, okay, this is the exam that I want to clear. And in that particular part, in that journey, they just leave everything behind, their interests, their hobbies and all. But we should not leave them completely behind, as these are some things which basically also helps us to be ourselves, and we can always release some negative energy while doing such kind of activities. So that's how we can distress ourselves, and we can again get back to our preparation and overcoming all those things which are basically stopping us from achieving that part, right?
Yeah.
So that's really good to hear from you, sir. And apart from that, what was the role of your family, your friends, and your siblings in your journey? Because it's always great to have a very good support system when we are an aspirant, right? And in that phase, as you have already mentioned, that there are a lot of hardships, and as you have also mentioned that you were preparing for last 3 to 4 years, there might be some scenarios when you have also failed the exam as well. So how did you overcome those situations, and how did that support system played its role in your journey of becoming EOAO officer?
Having a good support system is almost as critical as your preparation while preparing for any competitive exams. In my case, it was particularly important since my mother is the only earning member of our family. That too also a pensioner. So she faced a lot of pressure from society, from our relatives, but she never let me feel that I was burdened by any of those expectations. She said, always said that focus on doing your best and the result will come. So she was particularly courageous and allowed me to focus solely on my studies. And also my sister and friends, they were also very helpful. Particularly your friends uh, who may just about things and prepare yourself for the eventuality of the society, and you may not feel that insufferable after you are in constant contact with your friends. So having a good support system is particularly helpful in that regard.
Absolutely. And we really need that particular support during those tough times. So, sir, as you are finally now an EOAO officer, so what makes your success special?
My success it is special for me because it has come after a lot of hard work and sufferings, and it is like a dream being fulfilled. My childhood dream of becoming an officer. So these things truly make successful, and it was a dream that was not only dreamt by me but also by people surrounding me. My father is not there, but it was also his dream, and my mother always motivated me for achieving that dream, and my younger sister has always been motivating me that I have the ability and I should achieve success by becoming an officer. So it was really a dream come true, and particularly if it involves your family and friends.
And the whole behalf of EduTap team, I would like to wish you, really congratulate you on becoming the EOA officer and achieving your dream job as well. So, sir, some final words from your end, like for the any special message that you would like to give to our future aspirants, and apart from that, any key learning that you have learned from your journey, and that you want key other aspirants should not repeat those mistakes that you have committed in your journey of becoming an EOA officer.
The important things for any aspirant is to not lose hope. Always keep their goal in mind and focus on your strengths rather than trying to improve your weaknesses. It is important to maximize your strengths, then only go after erasing your weaknesses. And it is a journey. Try to focus also, not avoid yourself. Try to keep yourself healthy and try to upgrade yourself. It is just a it may it is, I know that it is a crucial, how crucial it is to become a government officer, but it think of it as just any other job. If you are not able to achieve despite your hard work, then something better may be just around the corner for you. So it is important to not lose hope, uh, and try to always better yourself from what you were a day before. That's a message I want to convey to any other aspirants.
Very beautiful words from your end, that staying hopeful and always making sure that yes, we are continuously working on ourselves to become a better individual, and to always work on the shortcomings that we had, so that really we are on our strengths as well. So, sir, really, the future aspirants are really going to learn a lot from your journey, and definitely it will help them in their journey of becoming the EOA officer. So, once again, I would like to congratulate you on becoming an EOA officer and wish you great luck for your upcoming job endeavors.
Thank you.
So, and thank you for joining EduTap. And guys, we will keep on coming up with such kind of more inspiring sessions where you can really learn from the officers who were once an aspirant just like you, and by from their mistakes you can learn, and from their experiences you can also just channelize your preparation, and you can also become the officer in your desired organization. So thank you, sir, for joining, and again, congratulations to you.